Hi, I am Stéphanie Guilherme. I'm a professor in civil engineering in the University of Ottawa.
Hello, my name is Johan Nistor. I'm a professor of civil engineering at the University of Ottawa. You can recognize that I'm an engineer by the engineer ring that I wear on my hand.
My research is on drinking water. So I develop new water treatment technologies, but also water monitoring strategies or water management strategy. Most of my work is with small communities. So for example, indigenous communities, but also northern communities in the north of Canada.
People always ask me, what do I work on? As a professor, together with my students, I work to investigate the effects of very large climate events, such as hurricanes or floods, on buildings and structures. I'm also interested in the effect of tsunamis on coastal communities. What do I do and what do we do as a team of engineers? We go in the field following each hurricane or each tsunami, and we're interested in finding out two things. We're interested in finding how to design better buildings, how to design better communities such that people can survive the effect of the raging waters. I'm also interested with my research group on how to design cities that will be able to undertake the major challenges of what the future will bring, such as sea level rise or an increase in the number of hurricanes. So you have to think, how will we design a city like Vancouver? How will we design a city like New York or Miami when the sea level rise is going to increase?
I decided to pursue in civil engineering for several reasons. When I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. So I loved science and I read a lot about science. And during my studies in science, I discovered civil engineering and I loved it.
I chose to become a civil engineer for several reasons. Through the nature of my work, I feel that I make a huge impact on the society by saving lives and by designing better and safer structures. It is also a very interesting profession in the sense that it is a transferable profession. You can be a civil engineer anywhere in the world, in Nepal, in South Africa, in Canada, or in Asia. It's also an interesting profession in the sense that it allows you to work either alone or in very large teams with various people of different nationalities from different places around the world.
Why? Because it's very useful. It helps you to understand your everyday life. I mean, you learn to build things. You learn to understand how things are created. So it's very useful. Also, I am very curious, creative, and I love solving problems. These abilities are very useful in civil engineering. That's why I love my work every day, because I can really use my abilities in my work. I feel that my work is very useful for everybody, and I'm very proud to work every day to ensure a safe and sustainable water supply, especially for northern and indigenous communities.
There are several things that I enjoy most about being a civil engineer, and some of them are very personal. First of all, through the nature of my work, I was fortunate enough to work on some very interesting places all around the world on 5 continents. My work often takes me to exotic beaches on far remote islands. I've also enjoyed working with people such as yourself, young people who always challenge me. They ask questions. We joined our forces together and we designed smarter cities, better cities.
In the field of civil engineering, there's a lot of job opportunities. So it really depends on what you prefer to do and what you want to do. And for example, in water, if you like to operate, if you like to build things, if you like to create things, you can work in the water operation. So you can work in a water treatment plant, you can develop water treatment, you can create project related to water treatment. So if you are creative, you can work in the operation. If you prefer to manage things, you can work in the management of drinking water, for example. So you can ensure that the water supply is safe and is sustainable in municipalities or in big or small municipalities. And finally, if you are curious, you can work in the monitoring of water to ensure that the water is safe and there's no contaminant in the water. And also, you can work for a lot of different employers. You can work for the federal government, you can work for the provincial government, but you can also work for municipalities, for big municipalities, for large municipalities, for small municipalities. If you prefer also, you can work with consultant companies and you can manage projects. And finally, you can also work in research. So you can continue your studies and do as I do. You can develop new water treatment technology, or you can develop new water monitoring strategies. So if you are really creative and curious and you want to develop new things, you can continue in research.
Many of you may wonder, what kind of employment exists in civil engineering? What can I do as a civil engineer? Well, you can first be a consulting or a design engineer. That means you would design, calculate, and prepare plans for construction projects. You could also be a contracting engineer. That means you would be an engineer on a building site, constructing and bringing to fruition these design projects. You can also be a researcher or a professor who would work towards designing new methods and new methodologies to build these construction projects. And above all, you can be an entrepreneur. You can have your own company that will work on design or contracting or research. I've always enjoyed being a civil engineer. Remember that civil engineering is one of the oldest and most reputed professions in the world. Over the millennia, people have built the pyramids of Egypt, the Colosseum in Rome, or the Tour d'Eiffel. Remember that the 7 wonders of the world were all magnificent civil engineering projects. So come and join me and our team at the University of Ottawa. We're looking for engineers who can design and construct the next wonders of the world.
If I can give you one advice for you students that want to pursue in civil engineering, is don't give up. Because if you are like me, if you are curious, if you are creative and you love solving problems, you will love to work in civil engineering. Because you will really feel that your work is useful and you will have an impact on society. And you will do things that you like. I mean, you will build things. You can build bridges. You can build new materials. You can create new water treatment. You can create new wastewater treatment. There's a lot of new things that you can create. So if you are like me, creative and curious, you will be very happy in civil engineering. I know that studies can be difficult, and sometimes we fail. But here is the secret. We all failed. We all failed at one moment in our life. But don't give up, because we learn from all these mistakes and all these failures. And we become wiser and we become stronger. So don't give up, because you will really like working in civil engineering.